When we talk about imposter experience, there are a few nuances and often a few questions that come up around the difference between our value in ourselves, our confidence, and our capabilities. So I want to clear some of those up today. So when we talk about imposter syndrome, there is almost like this continuum that self-doubt and confidence exist on opposite ends of the scale. And one of the questions I often get asked is a little bit of self-doubt healthy in terms of helping us achieve our goals and wanting to prove ourselves? And I think, like with anything, a little bit of something is always okay. And then when we get too much of it, it becomes debilitating. So think of stress on that continuum. A little bit of stress motivates us to achieve our goals and work to a deadline. Too much stress makes us burn out. And it's the same with self-doubt. So a little bit of self-doubt might make us work harder, but too much of it will then freeze us to the spot and leave us fearful of being found out, will manifest in our imposter experience. And there's of course a difference in this space as well. So I want to talk about that today. But let's look at this continuum a little bit more, because we have the opposite ends of this continuum, our doubt and our confidence, and we have a difference. Often we talk about the opposite of imposter experience. If you're suffering from imposter experience, then you're good at what you do, but you doubt your capabilities. There is an opposite to imposter syndrome, and that's called Dunning-Kruger, after the guys that coined the phrase. And Dunning-Kruger is someone who thinks they're really good at what they do, but actually are not. So more confidence than their capabilities suggest. So if we look at this scale where we've got, I guess, the middle ground, and the bit we're all aiming for is where our confidence and our capabilities align. And then either side of that middle point where our confidence and our capabilities align, we've got imposter experience, where we've got a lower confidence than our capabilities suggest, and Dunning-Kruger, where we've got a higher confidence than actually our abilities are set at. And then you go one step further in each direction, and Dunning-Kruger becomes narcissism, and imposter experience that is very extreme can lead to anxiety, can lead to mental health issues where it debilitates us completely. And of course, what we're aiming for in this middle ground. And I think sometimes when we talk about imposter experience, we worry, particularly in our modest, humble Kiwi culture, we worry that if we talk about our strengths too much or celebrate our successes, that we might become a narcissist. And I think when you look at that continuum where we're actually coming from, that's highly unlikely to happen. And of course, when you're suffering with Dunning-Kruger, you're not really worried about improving your confidence because it's already way above where it needs to be anyway. So with imposter experience, what we're looking at is improving our confidence and our self-efficacy to the point where we get to that middle ground. Our confidence aligns with our capabilities. So it's a closer alignment to reality. So if we were looking at reality, Dunning-Kruger sufferers would come in a bit and be a little less confident around their abilities, and imposter experience sufferers would come increase their confidence to a point where they aligned with their abilities. And that's that middle ground that we're all aiming for. But what is the difference? We talk a lot about self-doubt, self-efficacy, and self-worth, and they're slightly different, particularly where imposter experience is concerned. So I want to touch on that as well and clear that up. So when we talk about self-doubt or self-efficacy, what we're of course talking about is our belief in our capabilities, whereas self-esteem is more about our worthiness. So self-esteem will be, am I worthy of this success? Self-efficacy will be, can I do this? Can I achieve this success? So can you see the difference, the slight nuance? And I just want to finish with the dictionary definitions in this space, just to kind of highlight the difference between those two things. So when we're looking at self-esteem, it's how we value and perceive ourselves. It's based on our opinions and beliefs about ourselves and our worth and our value. And it can impact our ability to make decisions and assert ourselves. And then when we look at self-efficacy, so the belief about our capabilities, if we looked at the dictionary definition of this term, then it is an individual's belief in his or her capability to execute behaviours necessary to provide specific performance attainments. So do I have the capability to achieve this? And of course, that's where imposter experience is concerned, that difference between our confidence in what we're able to achieve and what we actually do achieve in reality. So self-efficacy reflects our confidence in our ability to exert control over our motivation and our behaviours. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit more of an understanding of the difference in this term, the nuances in the brain, because we often talk about imposter experience, and yet when we start to dig deeper, as we do in the workshops that I run, we start to understand those little nuances and how the brain works and what's required to overcome those feelings of imposterism.